A few nights ago, I went to a 7-Eleven with my boyfriend, Eric. He had a craving for onion rings. He parked just outside the building and said he'd wait in the car while I ran inside. I hated when Eric ordered me around like that. He was the reason we were here, and yet I had to do everything. I didn't argue, though. I figured it would just take a minute. When I got inside, I was the only customer. It was nighttime, and the man behind the counter looked half asleep. I gave him the sack of onion rings, and he very slowly typed into the register. It was almost comical how slow he was moving, as if he enjoyed watching me wait. Finally, he gave me my change, and I hurried out of there. But once I stepped onto the parking lot, I saw that our car was empty. The driver's side door was open and Eric was gone. I knew he didn't go inside, so I looked around the parking lot, but I couldn't find him anywhere. Instantly panicked, I ran back inside and told the cashier that my boyfriend was missing. He looked upset, but something was off. He didn't seem surprised at all that someone had gone missing outside his shop. The cashier was hiding something from me. He knew that someone was going to take Eric. That was probably why he moved so slow when I was at the counter. He needed me to stay inside for as long as possible while Eric was taken. At least that's what I was thinking. I reached across the counter and grabbed him by the shirt. "Where's my boyfriend?" I screamed in his face. He got this panicked look and then reached for something behind the counter. Before I knew it, he pulled out a rifle. I backed away, hands up, worried that he might shoot me, but instead he ran around the counter with the rifle in his hands and raced out the front door. He turned back towards me and said, "Wait here." Then he ran into the parking lot. I tried to see where he went through the window, but it was too dark. I heard 2 gunshots, and then nothing. I stood there, waiting in the 7-Eleven for a long time, but the cashier never came back. I guess I was too confused by the whole situation to even think about calling the police. Finally, I came to my senses, grabbed my phone, and called 911. I reported a kidnapping, even though I didn't know for sure if that was what had happened. The operator said officers would arrive in less than 10 minutes and told me to stay exactly where I was. I waited in the 7-Eleven, staring at the wide front windows, watching for anyone. With my phone still in my hand, I decided to call Eric's cell phone, hoping he'd answer. All I wanted was for him to explain that this was just some big mistake or maybe a practical joke. Eric didn't answer. Even though I was more scared than I'd ever been in my entire life, I knew I had to find out what was going on. Slowly, I walked out of the building and looked around. Our car was still empty. I walked around the corner of the building, so focused on the space around me that I didn't see where I was walking. I walked right into something soft on the ground. It was the cashier, lying dead on the pavement. His rifle sat next to his lifeless body, a scalpel sticking out of his neck. God, I felt horrible for the poor man, but at least this told me I was going in the right direction. I picked up his rifle and continued alongside the building until I saw a small shed hidden in the back. The door was halfway open, so I slowly leaned inside and saw exactly where Eric had gone. He was lying on an operating table while a man in a dirty lab coat was cutting into him with a scalpel. Eric wasn't struggling, but I could see his chest rising and falling. He was still alive. "Welcome," someone said to me, but it wasn't the doctor. It was a beautiful woman in a short red dress. "What are you doing to my boyfriend?" I asked. The doctor didn't stop working. He continued to slice into Eric's stomach. The woman laughed. "Harvesting," she answered. They were stealing organs. They had set up a makeshift operating room in this little shed, and from the looks of it, she must have waited outside the 7-Eleven to seduce men into following her here. I could hear Eric groan on the table. He was too weak to speak, but he must have been able to feel what they were doing to him. The woman stepped closer. "Is this your boyfriend?" she asked. "He didn't act like he was dating anyone when I found him." I remembered my time inside the 7-Eleven. I was in there for less than 5 minutes, and in that time, Eric had been seduced, injected, and taken away. He must not have put up a fight at all. He must have been too horny to care. I was horrified by what they were doing to him, but I also felt deeply betrayed. It was his own fault that this woman had tricked him. He should have just waited in the stupid car. "You look healthy," she said. "I can make a lot of money selling you for parts." I stepped backward, but she grabbed me by the shoulders. She was stronger than I realized. Behind her, the doctor kept cutting into Eric. "It looks like you have two choices," the woman said. "You can stay here with your boyfriend, but we'll have to take you apart, or you can pretend you didn't see anything and leave him to us." I knew I should have fought back. I loved Eric, and the things they were doing to him were just awful. But on the other hand, the police were on their way, and more importantly, Eric had betrayed me. So I said goodbye and walked out. When I got back to the front of the parking lot, the police had already arrived. Several officers were examining the cashier's body. I walked to one of them and told them about the shed. He pulled aside a couple of his fellow officers, and they raced around the corner. By the time they got to the shed, the woman and the doctor were already gone. Eric was still lying there. Well, most of him anyway. I spend my days as a humble worker at 7-Eleven. More specifically, I was a store manager and franchise owner. I was no software engineer or doctor, and while my family did have their opinions on what I did for a living, my job paid rather well. I was a very different man in my past, but deciding to go the route of franchising a store was a more hands-on career path that mostly kept me in check. It was a low-stress but high-labor job, and that was honestly perfect for me. The job was almost therapeutic to me. It gave me something to take care of, something to look forward to every day. Of course, I couldn't do this alone. Working with me on my daytime shifts were workers Molly and Adam. Molly and Adam were young. They were working there to pay off their college tuition. We all considered ourselves like a family to each other. Molly, Adam, and I grew super close in our time working there. They were like the kids I never had, and this naturally made me a little protective over them. We would always encounter weird or upset customers, and it was usually me who had to stand up for them. I didn't want anything to happen to them. They were so young. Nothing bad had happened to Molly or Adam yet, and I was grateful for that. But one early morning, that changed. It was a Tuesday morning. I want to say the incident occurred around 9 a.m. The sun was out and things seemed to be going normal. This time of day was always peaceful. There were usually never any problems. Eventually, a blue sedan pulled into the parking lot. Inside the car was a rather average-looking middle-aged man. He stepped out of the car and started filling it with gas. While the pump was going, he then proceeded to the front of the store. As per their training, Molly and Adam greeted him. The man just nodded and started walking around the aisles. He then looped back around the store, approached Molly, and started flirting with her. Molly was visibly uncomfortable, and while I wanted to go to the back of the store and do my inventory logging, I couldn't do this. Not with the man hitting on Molly like that. Adam, however, told me that he could handle the man if he started acting any weirder. And naturally, I trusted him. I reluctantly stepped into the back room and started counting down and logging all the items that were there. While I was doing this, however, I kept looking back towards the man to see what he was doing. It seemed like the man was looking back at me as well. This was odd for a number of reasons. Customers aren't supposed to be this close to the back of the store, and he kept awkwardly peering in through the utility room. To make things worse, every time I looked back, the man started to try and act busy. It was like he was trying to pass time or look natural for some reason. I stepped out of the room and asked the man if I could help him. He seemed to awkwardly and rudely shun me off and keep pacing around the store, pretending like he was looking for something. For some reason, I decided to ignore all these red flags and continue my work in the back. Eventually, while Molly was passing by the back room, she whispered to me that the man was making her very uncomfortable. I told her that once I finished with the shelf I was working on, I would quickly go outside and help her. I essentially told her to hang in there and wait behind Adam. It was super confusing what the man even wanted. He seemed to have stopped flirting with Molly completely and was instead focused on trying to peer through the back door. As annoying as this was, I just wanted to get through my work. I had one last crate of granola bars to lock down and I didn't want this weird man to stop that. But that's when I heard a commotion coming from the main room. "Excuse me, sir. You're not allowed to be back there. What are you trying to pull off? Call the police, Adam," I heard Molly exclaim. Right after that, I quickly ran out of the storage room to see what was happening and saw the commotion. The man from the blue car was trying to pull something off. I saw Molly in shock and fear in the corner and Adam with his fists up, standing right in front of her. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I asked the man. "What kind of place is this? What's even back there? What are you guys hiding?" the man shouted. "Get out of here! The sign clearly says employees only. You expect me to just sit here and let you get away with this? No way in hell." We were all in complete shock. Adam tried to calm the man down. "Sir, we don't need to get violent, okay? You can just calm down and we don't have to— I don't want to hear another word from you psychos," the man snapped back at Adam. Molly started to cry. She was ready to dart out of the store. The man then started reaching for his pocket. We had no idea what he was going to pull out. I tackled the man in the back of the shop and screamed at Adam and Molly to just head away and call the police. A few more minutes of us wrestling in the utility room occurred. I managed to headlock the man, but he just kept hitting me off. After a few more minutes of us wrestling and fighting in the back, the cops eventually got there, but sadly, they couldn't find him on the scene. We got the man's face on the security camera and his car was still at the pumps. We had both his face and his license plate on camera. Despite all this, the police just left. They couldn't find any sign of him, and they assumed that he just ran out through one of the other back doors. As the cops left, I made sure to dump the man's body right next to the first. As I mentioned before, I was a different man in my past. This job really changed me. It seemed like the man in the blue car clearly noticed the other body I had. Normally, it's pretty well hidden. Not even Molly or Adam could find it. But I guess one of the legs must have been sticking out or something like that while I was moving stuff around. I re-looked at the security footage to make sure there was no evidence left behind. It seemed like the man wasn't reaching for a gun or a knife. He was reaching for his phone to call the police. I really didn't want it to be this way, but he knew my secret. The man was now part of my collection. Molly and Adam still have no idea what happened, and you bet I'm planning to keep it that way. They can't find out anything about my past. If they did, they'd be shattered. For now, my secret remains safe from the public eye, and I will ensure no one remembers that day. This happened around mid-November 2017. I was working the night shift at my local 7-Eleven, and my coworker was in the back throwing trash in the dumpster. I was out front taking care of customers and making sure all of our write-offs were done when I heard two customers fighting over a pack of cheese balls. It was a girl in her late 20s and a woman in her late 30s. They were seconds away from scratching each other's faces. I ran to them to stop their fight. Ma'am, please don't be violent to one another. I'll get more from the storeroom." "You're a freaking liar," one yelled, and they again charged at each other. I stood between them and said, "We have a lot more in the storeroom, ma'am. I'm about to restock the shelves. I will get one more packet for you." I got the woman her packet of cheese balls, and she left the store, making faces at the girl. The girl, to be honest, looked rough. There were needle marks on her hands, and she constantly scratched herself with her unclean fingernails. "Do you need help with anything else?" I asked. "Why, are you waiting for me to leave?" she said, as though she caught me. Even though I still tried to be nice to her as she was our customer. A few other people were shopping in the store and staring at us. Everyone judged the girl with disgusted eyes. "No, ma'am, my job is to help you in case you need it." "Well, I don't need it," she snapped. "Fine," I said. "I'll be at the counter." I went back to the counter. The woman bought a bag of chips and a bottle of fruit juice, leaving while giving me a death stare. God, how am I still doing this job? I kept asking myself for the rest of my shift. Once I got off work, I handed the keys to the next worker and warned her about this girl. I went home, had some dinner, and fell asleep right away. The next morning, my phone rang. "Hello, Claire, you won't believe what just happened last night," said Mandy, my coworker. "The girl you talked about came back." "Man, what did she do? Anything stupid?" I asked. "She kept asking about you and said she'd be waiting for you. Crazy witch. I think you should inform the owner about her before coming to work." "You don't think she'll try to hurt me, right?" I asked, worry creeping into my voice. "You never know, dude. People can be unpredictable." "Thanks for the heads up, Mandy," I said, disconnecting the call. I sat on the bed with a worried face, wondering whether I should call the owner or not. Then, a huge rock landed on my bedroom floor, shattering the glass of my window. What the hell? I jumped from the bed and rushed to see who did this. As I peeked from the window, another huge piece of brick came flying at me. Luckily, I had good reflexes and moved out of the way. I waited a few seconds to make sure no more attacks were coming. When I looked down, I saw the girl from 7-Eleven standing outside my apartment, chuckling like a freak. "Wakey, wakey, sunshine," she yelled. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed back. "Watch me make your life a living hell," she replied, walking away. I had never been so scared in my life. I was living alone in this new city, and God knows what that deranged woman was capable of. I wasn't going to take any more risks. I would have called the cops, but I decided to talk to the owner first. I called Mr. Gonzalez and told him everything. I even sent him snaps of my broken window and the big pieces of rocks. He told me not to be scared and just to come to the store for my shift. He said he'd be there today. I felt a little relieved, thinking that if the girl decided to follow me to work, I would at least have someone to watch my back. I got ready and went to work. Mr. Gonzalez was handling the counter today. We exchanged greetings, and I went to stack the shelves with fresh supplies. 3 hours went by, and when the girl still didn't show up, I was positive she wouldn't be seen again. But man, was I wrong. I turned my head to see the girl standing inside the store with an evil smile on her face. We made eye contact and a shiver ran down my spine. I looked at my boss and he understood the assignment. "Hey, yes, help me find the chips, please," he said. "Sure, this way," I replied. We started walking down the aisle. I was leading the way while she followed. I could hear her chuckling and whispering obscenities at me. She was speaking in a low volume, so only I could hear. "Tonight, when you're asleep in your bed, I'll sneak into your room and cut your chest open. I'll take out your heart, because you don't deserve it." Okay, that's it, I thought, turning around. I pushed her out of my way and went straight to my boss. I told him everything, and he yelled at the woman, "How dare you touch me, freak?" "Ma'am, enough. We need you to leave now," he added. Her eyes zoomed from my face to my boss's. Her bony cheeks started to turn red with anger. Breathing like a monster, she said, "Who are you to order me? I own the store, and I'm not going to order you twice, you son of a..." "You want money? Is that what this is about, huh? You think I don't have money? I'll show you. You wait." Saying this, she took out a bunch of cards and started throwing them at Mr. Gonzalez like they were dollars. This girl was utterly delusional. I don't know what drug she took to become this way. Slowly, the situation escalated, and she started throwing whatever she could find at my boss. Mr. Gonzalez lost his calm at one point and started throwing things back at the girl. "I'll kill you. Fear me, witch, fear me," she was screaming, having a complete meltdown. Finally, Mr. Gonzalez rushed at her, grabbing her hand, and pushed her out of the store. The girl fell on the sidewalk, losing her balance, but she immediately got humbled, sat there crying for a while, and then left. I never saw her again, but I hope she's doing better. I was stacking the sandwiches in the freezer when I heard the shop bell ring. Here comes another customer, I thought. I went back to the counter and saw an old woman with a tired face standing in the store. She was looking for something. "Ma'am, do you need any help?" I would like a strawberry shake. The drinks are in the next aisle. Do you want me to get it for you? Oh no, dear. You've been so sweet. I'll check it myself, she said. With trembling, slow steps, she headed for the second aisle. My eyes went back to the entrance upon hearing the second ding, and now there was a man. He looked like he hadn't eaten in days. His eyes were wide, and he had a creepy stare, but I didn't want to be rude to a customer. Can I help you? I asked. I'm here for a sandwich. I have money, he stammered. I gestured toward the back of the store. He hurried off like a hungry mouse. I watched him tear off the sandwich wrapper and start gobbling it down. I didn't disturb him, expecting him to pay on his way out. In between his bites, he kept making eye contact with me. His eyes never blinked whenever we looked at each other. God, he's so creepy, I thought. Hello, dear, I had one shake. I'm standing here near the aisle. I hope it won't be a problem, the old woman said, approaching the counter. Oh no, it's fine. I would like to buy one more, she added, placing a second strawberry shake on the counter. How much is it for 2 of these? While taking the money from her, I glanced back at the man. He was almost done with his sandwich and was walking toward the counter. Thank God he's leaving, I felt relieved. I was handing the change to the old woman when the man stopped in front of the counter and said, "1 sandwich. Sorry I didn't pay first. I was really hungry." It's fine, I replied as I started billing him. The old woman was walking toward the exit when she turned back and asked, "Can I use your washroom?" "Definitely. It's at the end to your right," I said. Seeing the woman walk back into the store, the man's behavior changed. He got self-conscious and nervous all of a sudden. "Here's your change," I said, hoping he would leave, but he didn't take the change. Instead, he leaned closer and started making small talk. "So, what time does this store close?" "What?" I asked, a little surprised. "Just asking." "Maybe you should get going." "I have tons of work," I said, starting to type in the system, pretending to be busy. I thought if I ignored him, he would leave, but he just kept standing there. "Excuse me, is there anything else?" Yes. Would you like to go for a smoke with me?" he asked. "No, I don't smoke and I'm working," I replied, getting irritated. "Dude, what the hell is your problem?" He got tense but still tried convincing me. "No need to get angry, just take a break. I can see you look tired. Look, if you don't leave right now, I'll have to call the manager. Also, there are CCTV cameras all over the store." "Please don't be so hyper, just try to understand what I'm saying," he mumbled. I don't want to hear any of this," I said, raising my voice. Our argument was getting worse when I heard a voice. "Is he bothering you, dear?" I looked behind the man and it was the old woman. I had completely forgotten about her since she went to use the bathroom, but seeing her back in the store gave me courage. I grabbed my phone and yelled, "I'm calling 911, you need to leave now." "Leave her alone. Go back to the streets, you punk," the old woman shouted, standing her ground. I was so proud of her for standing up for me. "I'm staying right here until you go, weirdo." "You heard me," she added firmly. The man looked back at me with a helpless, sad expression, like he was disappointed with life. Then he started walking toward the entrance. I was worried, as the old woman was also on her way out. As the man walked closer to her, I kept praying that he wouldn't do anything reckless. He was inches away from walking past her when he suddenly turned back and jumped on her. "Get off of me! Get off of me, you scum!" the woman screamed. The man pinned the poor woman down on the floor, and they began struggling. She was trying her best to free herself from his grasp, but she wasn't strong enough to stop him. "Let me go now," she cried. "Hello, 911? You need to send someone here. There's a man who has gotten into the store and attacked a customer. I'm calling from the 7-Eleven on the highway," I told the operator, panicking. The operator kept consoling me, saying help was on the way. I was thinking about helping the woman when something shocking happened. The man grabbed something from the old woman's pocket and flung it onto the floor. She's not what she seems," he yelled. "I saw the knife when she was going for the bathroom." My world collapsed under my feet. The cute old woman's face twisted into something hideous. something wicked. What are you going to do now? You ruined all my plans, she growled, her voice full of venom. I will kill you. A few seconds ago, the woman who had seemed so helpless and fragile was now standing tall, breathing like a raging bull. Her eyes were bloodshot. She tried to attack the man, but this time I heard cop cars outside the store. Police, put your hands over your head, officers shouted as they stormed the store. The woman was arrested, and the cops identified her as the granny killer. For the last few weeks, she had been targeting empty convenience stores. She would enter when there was no one around except the night worker, stab them to death, rob the store, and leave for her next victim. I thanked and also apologized to the man. We often forget that real evil comes with many masks. Stormy night, huh? Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there, but I saw you coming out of the store in the storm like a cat who hates water. You're funny. Hey, babe, where are you? Lisa, I'm at the 7-Eleven near the high road. What are you doing there? My car broke down and the heavy rain started. Let me see if I can call a mechanic from the store. Oh God, will that take a while? I'm trying to be there as soon as possible, babe. Try to understand, okay? I don't know what to say to you. Everyone's here, Mike. I know. I'll be there soon. I've got to go now. Calling you once I get back on the road. Fine. Hey, is there a mechanic nearby? My network isn't working properly. Was that your girlfriend? Yeah. How long have you guys been dating? 6 months? Is she beautiful? Of course, very pretty. Prettier than me? What? I was kidding. Look at your face. Hey man, dude, I'm coming to get you, okay? That'd be such a help, man. I didn't think I'd find any mechanic in this weather. Yeah, I guess that. Can you share your location? Sure, I'll try. Sent. Got it. So you alone there? How fast can you get here? Why? And why are you whispering all of a sudden? Nothing. It's just the woman working here. She's a little weird. Is she hot? Shut up. Oh, come on, tell me. This is quite an interesting driving conversation. She's fine. Looks a little older to me underneath all that makeup. What is she doing now? Staring outside the window. What is she wearing? The obvious 7-Eleven t-shirt. Is that tight for her? Stop being gross, Trevor. You just got your girlfriend back. Who said I wanted her to be my girlfriend? I'm driving all this way. There's nothing wrong with having a little snack before driving back. Ah, crap. What? What happened? I think she saw me secretly looking at her. Now she'll think I'm a creep. Go talk to her. Why waste time like this? Just shut up, Trevor. Get here faster. Do you need any help? If you're looking for something to eat, I can get it for you. Can you see me now? You didn't answer my question. Look, I don't need any help. I'm just waiting here for my friend. But I really want to help you. Maybe we have tools in the basement that can fix your car. Why don't we go down there and check? I said I don't need your help, so back off. I think your friend is here. Mike. Stormy night, huh? Oh, sorry, you must be the... Okay, enough. We need to go. Bro, I was trying to talk to her. You really don't want to, Trevor. Trust me. Just drive, dude. Please, just drive. Okay. No need to go all psycho. Man, stormy night, huh?